Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Base Paths and Brewskis. Today, I will sum up our opening day series against the Mets. Spoiler alert, it was really cool to be a Brewer fan this weekend, and I'd say not as cool to be a Mets fan. We kind of went into Citi Field and absolutely, uh, for lack of better terms, beat the shit out of them, really. I mean, we kind of went in every game, dominated from the start, and we're able to just hold leads. And that was really, really encouraging to see with a young team. I'm excited to see what they can do with a little adversity and being, down early in a game. But when you don't have to be, and you can win 3 out of 3 and sweep a team that's such a high budget team like the Mets, that's really cool to see from the Brewers. So let's jump right into today's episode. Our BP today is, like I promised, Coors Light. My first alcoholic beverage. That's a lie. I took a sip of something earlier today. Happy Easter, everybody. I forgot to mention. Obviously, great time to see some family, connect, go to church if you choose to, or, just have fun finding Easter eggs, eating candy, whatever way you choose to celebrate Easter. If you choose not to, that's awesome as well. But it was a good day. Got to see a bunch of family and kind of reflect a bit on what you have as what you can be thankful for. I know it's not Thanksgiving or anything, but Easter is such a good time. Let's talk a little bit about the beer though. The Coors Light, my favorite drink. Just cracked it open. If you're watching the video on YouTube here, the can isn't accurate. I'm drinking out of the like twist off top ones. They're still a can, but it's like the twist top. Those are my favorite. So of course I had to go grab one at Quick Trip before we started this podcast. So I haven't done a ton of research. I watched games 1 and 3 fully pretty much. Today, game 3 was a little harder to watch just because Easter celebration going on. But I was able to listen to most of the game on the radio yesterday, episode 2. I was traveling up north and I was able to catch, I think, the 7th inning to the end of the game. So I was able to watch most of this series and get a pretty good feel of things. So I didn't feel like I needed to do a ton of research on the stats. I got a pretty good feel of how the games were going. So let's jump right in. I'm going to take a first sip here quick. Mountains are blue as ever. Shout out Coors Light. Yep, there it is. All right, game 1. If you didn't watch, first game of the season, we started off 1-0. One game closer to 162-0. We won 3-1. It was got off to an early lead and just didn't really look back. We had, I think the game was tied 1-1 at one point, and then we just pulled away late. Um, the all right, let's jump into the box scores here. The first run of the season, I believe, was the Christian Yelich solo home run. So that was pretty cool to see. But Jackson Chourio made his debut. My craft brew player of the game, or in this case, I picked 2 people because I can. It's my podcast. Um, so I had Jackson Chourio for making his major league debut. He went 1 for 3. He walked as well, his first at bat of his career. Got on base. I think he stole one. I know he stole one base. I don't think he stole a second. So he had a stolen base as well. Um, Made a decent play out in right field, jumping play. He he's looked pretty good throughout the series, but in game 1, obviously, Churio contributing had an RBI single to right field, just kind of punched it through between first and second. Good piece of hitting to drive in a run. Pretty sure, I guess this box score doesn't tell who he drove in, but thought it was Mon Monasterio or Turang. I don't quite. I think Turang, but I don't really remember. Freddie Peralta though, pretty lights out. 6 innings pitched, one run, one hit with 8 strikeouts. The hit was a home run to Starling Marte. He blasted one early in the game. I think it was the 2nd inning, and after that, uh, Freddie didn't really look back. They had a nice play after the home run, where I believe it was right after the home run, where um, Stewart was on base and Contreras back picked him at first base. And that after that, I don't think Freddie gave up a hit or even walked anybody. So I mean, he was lights out. So shout out to William Contreras for making that play. I think that kind of changed the game a little bit in terms of the momentum. It just after that we just dominated, kind of steamrolled them. And Contreras also had I believe, a sack, just kind of I think he grounded out or into a double play, but knocked in a run. So that was nice for him to contribute to the run scoring as well. After Freddie, we had Trevor McGill come in for a bit, not to be confused with Tyler McGill, who was the starter for the Mets in Game 3. They're brothers. He came in, walked a guy. His control looked a little off at first. Looked like he was maybe overthrowing a little bit, but after that, he settled in and got 3 outs. Pretty soft contact outs, I believe. Pyops was pitching good, struck 2 guys out. He's consistent as always. And then Uribe came in and shut the game down, got the save. So that was really cool to see for him. I believe that's his first save. He maybe has one in his career. I'm not really pulling anything up to look, but good to see that the bullpen was able to come in and go 1, 2, 3 in the 7, 8, and ninth inning and shut him down. Jose Quintana pitched all right, but just couldn't really contain the Brewers. Obviously, Yelich's home run was big. Um, and then Lopez came in and kind of got blasted a little bit and gave up some runs, but overall, just a good first game of the year. Good way to get the jitters out and get a victory. I really liked how Pat Murphy was kind of rotating around the squad. Brought in Bowers and Turang as soon as a righty came in the game. Jose Quintana, excuse me, throws left-handed, so kind of had a different little lineup in there and platooned some guys in mid-game. Really cool to see. In terms of the Mets, there really wasn't a whole lot going on. I mean, they got 1 hit, so that's tough to see. Um, Great job by the Brewers though, 1 hitting. And I think under Chris Hook, I saw that Chris Hook is our pitching coach. That's like the 12th time we've had a 1 hit performance combined as a team. And I think it was something like the 4th or 5th time that Freddie Peralta started one of those games. So hopefully we have more of those this season because it's pretty hard to win a game if you're only having 1 hit, even if it is a home run. So let's move on to game 2 where the Brewers won 7-6. They kind of held on at the end. Uh, it was a blowout to some extent, 7-3, and Hobie Milner was in. Let's look at the box scores. Hobie Milner came in. I don't know if he inherited runners, I believe, from Bryce Wilson, yes. And he ended up giving up a shot, a big home run. And I think it was who hit that? Oh, Brett Beatty. Yes, Brett Beatty came in and just blasted the 3-run shot. I think that was this 8th inning, and then Uribe came in and he also gave up a home run to I think Alonso. But anyway, we ended up winning. Wasn't that big of a deal, but it ended up being a lot closer than it probably should have been. Let's talk about my craft brew player of the game, though, and that was Reese Hoskins. Hoskins, obviously, we can talk about the game 1 controversy of him sliding into Jeff McNeil. I mean, in today's game, I think it's a dirty play. Maybe 10 years ago, it's seen as a smart baseball play. So it's really up to the eye of the beholder of whether or not that should be penalized in any way. It ended up being an automatic double play, I believe. But basically, what happened was, is if you haven't seen the clip by now, Hoskins kind of slid in, tried to take out Jeff McNeil, the Mets second baseman, and McNeil was not too happy about it. If you watch the clip, he had some choice words for Hoskins, and you don't have to be a good lip reader to tell what he was saying. Um, he was pretty pissed about it. Obviously, they had to be separated, and Hoskins ended up kind of making a crybaby type face towards him. And this is all in game 1. Just want to remind you. And so coming out in game 2, Hoskins getting totally booed by the fans. I mean, he already was getting booed the day before because he was a Philly, but even more now just for the beef he started. And how do you respond to that? Well, you come out and you hit go 3 for 4 with a walk, blast a home run, drive in runs, drove in 4 runs in that game, which made a huge difference. We also had a run score. I don't know who ended up scoring the run, but I know there was a run scored on a balk. So that that was kind of interesting. I can't remember who ended up getting to score on that, but yeah, Reese Hoskins balled out. Obviously, in the field, he looks all right, whatever. But Christian Yelich had a huge throw from left field that game. Just trying to highlight some of the stuff I can remember in terms of the position players. Oliver Dunn made his big league debut. Ended up getting pinch hit for by Joey Ortiz, or he might have been a defensive substitution. I don't really remember. But anyway, Oliver Dunn recorded his first hit. That was really cool. Saw the picture of him holding his first hit ball. Churio came in, was 2 for 5 again, putting up a good performance. And yeah, the offense just rolled this game with 7 runs, which kind of gave a little leeway for the defense, or excuse me, the pitching to give up some more runs. We gave up 6 runs, very, not Brewers fashion of playing baseball, but DL Hall was okay in his first outing. 6 hits, 2 walks. He's kind of letting guys on base. Gave up a home run. Only 1 strikeout. I was a little surprised. I thought he had some more strikeout stuff, but I think an interview after the game came out and he was talking about how nervous he was, which totally understandable. Elvis Peguero ended up picking up the win. Pitched two lights out innings. Didn't strike anyone out apparently. I guess I can't recall that, but he came in, ended up getting credited with the win. Trevor McGill came in and struck 3 dudes out. That I mean, I in my preview I talked about the kind of fireballer he is, and I was kind of hinting at him having a breakout season, and I'm hoping that's the case. Bryce Wilson came in and kind of did Bryce Wilson things. No offense to him, but he let up some base runners on hits and ended up getting 2 runs credited to him off that Hobie Milner 3-run home run, like I mentioned earlier um, to Brett Beatty. And then Abner Uribe came in and also gave up a home run and shut the door. So good way to win the game, though, at least. You'll always take a win. Doesn't matter what fashion it comes in. I don't know how sustainable this type of baseball is for the Brewers, considering they are a run prevention team and not aimed at run scoring as much. But if this is how the offense is going to play, I don't see why we have to keep that narrative of the Brewers can't score runs, because throughout this series we did just that. We scored runs. Moving on to game 3, we won 4-1. This game was played today at 12:40. I'm recording the night of Easter right now, having my Coors. Haven't drank in a while. Forgot what beer even tasted like, but no, I didn't. I've been drinking non-alcoholic beer. I don't know what I'm talking about. But Brewers won 4-1. My craft brew player of the game will jump right in. It was Willie Adames. He was hitting the ball hard today. 2 hits, 2 walks as well, getting on base, drove in a run. Really, the pitching staff, though, is where you need to, talk about high performance. Colin Ray came in 5 innings, only gave up 1 run. He had himself in some jams, I'm not going to lie. And not being a strikeout pitcher, getting yourself in bases loaded jams can be pretty difficult to maneuver out of if you're not, if people are putting the ball in play. So he did a good job of limiting the damage in potentially a very dangerous situation early in the game. Brian Hudson came in and he pitched 3 solid innings. And they had said that the last time he pitched 3 innings without giving up, or maybe just in general, completed 3 innings was in the minor leagues in like 2021. So to come up and do that in the major leagues was huge. And I didn't even touch on him at all in my bullpen review. So I was happily excited to see what he brought to the table today. And then Yoel Payamps came in and shut the door, struck a dude out. I mean, he looks pretty hard to hit. The way he just pounds the strike zone. He's relentless, and he makes you take the bat off your shoulder and put bad bad at bats together, and that's not sustainable as an offense if you have a guy who's doing that to you. So trying to think what else I could touch on this game. Churio is again 2 hits. He blasted a double to right field. Starling Marte did kind of get lost trying to field it, and he had a tough series out in right field. I believe he's kind of traditionally a left fielder. Had a harder time out there in the windy right field. Churio also, had some struggles with the ball, but he in the field, but he was doing fine, honestly, as a defender as well. Made a nice play running in today as well. And it was really exciting to see him and how well he could perform. Anything else I want to touch on? Yelich had a good series. Was happy to see he looks to be back in form a little bit. Got on base twice, stole a base today, scored a run. That's the Christian Yelich we need. Contreras was kind of back on track today. 2 hits. He was hitting the ball hard as he always does. Um, Hoskins was a little quieter today, which is all right. And I do want to see a little more out of Joey Ortiz. Slow start this series. Um, I really am excited to see him get some more playing time. So hopefully he can do more. But also I really have to talk about Bryce Terang. He has put together a great first series, kind of platooning the first game and then playing fully the second and third game. I think it was the first game, maybe the second game. He made a pretty incredible play up the middle. Uh, it was the ball went on the shortstop side of second base, and he ended up making a great backhand play, kind of a mini jump throw over to first. And I mean, there's not many second basemen who make that play, so that was really cool to see. But then obviously you can see on the box score if you're watching the video, and if you're not, he had a 455 average up to this point. So just through the series, a 1 OPS. He was 2 for 4. I think he stole like 3 bases today or something crazy. Um, but yeah, he's a threat on the base paths. He scored 2 runs with that hustle. Overall, just another solid victory. This was the most well put together game, in my opinion, from the Brewers in terms of just complete performance and sustainability. Um, and with that being said, I'll talk a little bit about my series awards. My MVP of the series was Christian Yelich. Maybe didn't have the flashiest stuff, but he was hitting the ball hard, hit a home run. Um, He's scoring runs, driving in runs. That's what we need to see from him, excuse me. And he was out in left field and just gunning people down. The big complaint about Christian Yelich was that he was a good fielder, but just sometimes didn't have the arm. And he proved everyone wrong today, or yesterday, excuse me, with that throw he made from left field. It was an incredible throw to second base, and he was able to get out a runner like Harrison Bader, I believe is who that was, trying to take the extra base, who Bryce Terang also threw out, I believe, on the play he made up the middle. So unlucky for Bader, but great defensive plays. And overall, just Yelich being that team leader set the tone of what it takes to be a good major leaguer in this series. And I think that's what a lot of these young guys need to see is what a real big leaguer looks like. And Christian Yelich played the part perfectly this weekend. So I'm going to take a quick sip of the Coors Light. All right, my Barrel Blaster Series award goes to Reese Hoskins. Obviously, he was hitting the ball hard. I think it's just kind of exciting that he brought such a flair to the team. Um, the producing runs, doing what he needs to do, though, is the reason why he got this Barrel Blaster award. And he's all that he's been advertised to be, a hard hitting first baseman, DH, and he brings an edge to the team that I was not expecting, but I'm all here for it. So I like that intensity, and I can definitely get behind that. And I think that's a culture that the Brewers need to build with Pat Murphy, kind of move away from not necessarily anything wrong with Craig Counsell, but just move on from that era. It's a different era of Brewers baseball. My crafty pitcher award goes to Abner Uribe and Yoel Payamps together. I want to throw Freddie Peralta in here as well, but I didn't want to crowd this award too much. But between Uribe and Payamps being able to close out games and get saves save opportunities, it was huge for these guys. Obviously, Uribe did give up the home run, but both of them had two appearances in this series and were pretty lights out together. And I'm just so excited to watch this combo the rest of the year. And I forgot that we had Devin Williams watching these two, which is crazy to think that our bullpen will eventually have Devin Williams, Abner Uribe, and Yoel Payamps, and Trevor McGill, honestly, after watching this. And again, like I said, I want to mention Freddie Peralta, though, quick. Fantastic start from him. Um, his first time starting opening day. He's our new ace, and he played the part. He walked the walk. Excuse me. So that was really exciting to see. And so these three awards that I mentioned first, I will always have these for every series. And then I kind of leave a fourth spot for a random award that I want to just add in. So the fourth kind of rotating award, I'll call it, this week or this series was the Freshman All American Award, and that went to Jackson Chorio. He played great throughout the series, defensively, batting, running. He looked all the part. I mean, his hustle was able to beat out, I believe, a double play. He was able to beat out. He's able to leg out weak contact. He's able to take the extra base when running in terms of stealing. And in the outfield, he's able to just cover so much ground. This dude looked the part. And if this series is any kind of sneak peek into what he's going to be as a player, even just this season, I mean, I am thrilled. I can't wait. But I think it's extremely important to remember that he is just a freshman, though. That's why I made the award freshman All American and not just All American. It's his first season. He's gonna have growing pains. He's gonna have, if he hits 250, that's not bad for a first year player. That's not bad for a rookie. But the hype around him is so big, it's hard to forget that he is. Excuse me. It's hard to remember that he is a first year player. So I think that's important to keep that in mind that he is new. He's 20 years old. For reference, I'm 22 and I feel young. So I can't imagine what it would be like for him to be out, in front of how many thousands of screaming New Yorkers and playing like that the way he did. I mean, that was super mature. He looked good out there. He looked the part. And I'm excited to see what he can do moving forward. All right, the BNB trivia. The Milwaukee Brewers traded Adrian Hauser and Tyrone Taylor, who was batting cleanup, I believe, in game two, for minor league pitcher Coleman Crow this offseason. Of the four listed players below, which outfielder did not play for the Brewers and Mets? So the first option is A. Keon Broxton, B. Nigel Morgan, C. Carlos Gomez, or D. Nori Aoki. All really cool names on this list. This was a fun trivia to make, and I think I remember the answer, but I'm obviously going to reveal it after in our next episode. So comment below, reach out on socials. Obviously, the podcast will be on Spotify and YouTube as always at Base Pats and Brewskis. You can find me on X. I'm pretty active on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. The tag for that is at Base and Brewski. And then on Instagram and TikTok, I am at Base Paths and Brewskis as well. You can find me there. Comment below, reach out, tell me what you thought about the series. I'm always excited to get some feedback and have some comments and back and forth. So just let me know. Let me know what you were thinking or what your answer to the trivia is. Up next, we obviously have the Minnesota Twins. So this will be in Milwaukee. Twins coming to visit. I'm potentially going to work on getting a guest host for the next episode that covers the Twin series. I have a buddy who's a Twins fan, but I haven't even talked to him about it yet, so we'll have to see if that works out. But I'm excited to see they're a similar team to us, in my opinion. A low budget central team usually has been winning the division as of late and somewhat high expectations for how low the budget is. So I think this is a good matchup, and it'll be a bit of a good, uh, you know, it'll give us a good idea, a mark tick on the measuring stick, if you will, of where we are in terms of a team right now, and when we play a team like the Twins, how we stack up against them. So I'm super excited to see that game, those games, excuse me. And as always, the BNB beer requests. If you have any beers you've been dying to try, if you have a go-to beer that I need to try, comment or reach out on any of the socials listed below with what I should drink next. Obviously, I'm back on the alcohol, back on the liquor, like Mr. Leahy. Drinking the Coors Light today. Been pretty tasty. I'm gonna try and finish it up here. Big gulp. Ooh, nice. Still cold. And just like that, the beer is gone. The podcast is done. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one. Go Brewers.